Welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with Daniel.
And Daniel.
And today we are going to be doing another one of our top 8 debates. This is late May and we are going into our top 8 debates. We've done how many now? Probably about 6 or 7?
Probably close to 8, I think.
8? Yeah, because this was our first
So,
one up.
hold on, I can actually look this up because I know what the most recent episode I edited. So, let's see, that's 5,
Oh.
6, 7. Yep, this is number 8.
Number 8 top 8 debate. So this is the top 8 of the top 8.
9. This is number 9.
Oh, okay. Well, we were close enough. But so last week you kind of threw me a bone and you agreed to let us do the top 8 debate for Rio Grande games, which is my bread and butter. And I appreciated that. And so, cheers to you, sir. Thank you for letting me do that. This week, I decided to reciprocate the favor, which I don't even know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean. Uh, Return the favor by focusing on crowdfunded games. And Frosthaven just finished breaking all kinds of records.
Third most funded thing on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Thing.
Of all time, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Most Kickstarted, crowdfunded board game on Kickstarter. Third overall.
Yeah. And so its little brother will come up in our list because this week we're going to be debating
You mean
the
its
top.
older brother?
I guess so, huh? I don't know. Like I feel like Frosthaven had more stuff in it, but I might be wrong.
No, but see, the older brother might be smaller than the younger brother because I'm taller and wider than both of my brothers.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And I'm the youngest.
And you're the baby, huh?
Yep.
It's all right. So am I. I'm not the biggest though. Anyway, beside the point, we're gonna be seeing Gloomhaven on the list because this week is the top 8 crowdfunded games. So with that being said, as always with our top 8 debates, let's go over our criteria of how we pick it and some of the rules that we will be talking about. First off, we chose the top 8 highest ranked board games under the category of crowdfunded. This is included Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or Patreon if there was any. I mean, I think these were all Kickstarter, but had there been one high enough ranked for Indiegogo, we would have included that as well.
Also, just so people know, this is on Board Game Geek. This is where we get it from.
Yeah, and not so much just like which ones funded the highest either. We are picking the top 8 highest ranked from the users.
Yeah.
And also, our second rule is you and I have both had to have at least played it once.
And are still familiar with it enough to make a debate.
Yep, familiar enough. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as familiar with any of these compared to.
Sounds like me last week.
Yeah, compared to you, I do own. I own 2 of them, and they are going to be right off the bat debating, and I already know what's going to go through. I'm pretty sure, anyway. So we also have some exciting news that our categories that we talk about them, we have clarified them quite well. The 5 categories that we are going to be doing. Why don't you take this over?
First one is ease of play, and each category is broken down into their own little tiebreaker bracket. So ease of play is about simplicity and familiarity of the mechanisms, the initial likeliness to get to the table, as well as is it analysis paralysis prone. Then we have replay value, which replaces replayability, which led to big issues in the past couple episodes. Mm-hmm. So we fixed it, and so replay value is broken down to length of time and if it scales well overall. So is it extended time for more players? Does 2 play as well as 4 players? That sort of stuff. How long is the game? Is it a 1-hour game or is it a 3, 4, 5-hour game? Next is the minimum number of plays for the full experience. So if it's a campaign game, you're more than likely going to need more plays to get it to the table and finish it, as well as expandability. This gives us the ability to argue for all the expansions in the game. So something like Star Realms has several expansions, whereas Gloomhaven doesn't, but
Right.
Gloomhaven has the minimum number of plays in that category.
Right, and then we can also compare it to like which one is likely to get more expansions. I mean, sure, it's speculative, but Star Realms can only do so much, where
Yeah.
Gloomhaven is almost indefinitely expandable.
Yep. And then the next category is meaningful choices. And this is broken down as how do you impact other players in the game, whether it's just basically mean and you're blocking them, or you're doing something that forces them to pivot from their ideals.
Or if it's
Impact,
multiplayer solitaire.
yeah, such like Castles of Burgundy. That's mean. The only impact you have on other players is taking the stuff that they want. If you rolled the same die and you got to go first.
Yeah, yep, that's it.
As well as meaningful choices, not only are you impacting the other player, what are the choices that you're making that's impacting your long-term strategy as you play the game, as well as arbitrary choices. Do I make a mistake and does it affect me the game all the way through, or if I make a mistake, is it something I can fix easily on the next turn? So that's for meaningful choices. The next one is game immersion. Theme matching the mechanics is the big part here. Does the theme match the way the mechanics play this game, or can anything be reskinned over it? Um, Interactions with other players. Is there a lot of interactions? If it's a co-op, is there a lot of table talk? Does it lead to, say, tabletop quarterback? That kind of stuff. As well as memorable moments. Are you talking about it outside the game? Are you saying, "Oh, you remember when you did this and you did that and you did this"? That's for it. And of course, as it has been for every game that we've talked about, art and production is in this one. And we broke this down into the art, because good artwork is always nice. The pieces and components, so is it minis, is it wood pieces, is it chits, what cardboard, what is it? As well as the design, because sometimes a dark design can ruin a game.
Yeah, and the design is like specifically how well does the graphics help your gaming experience? Because
Yep.
like, so for example, Kalis was functional, the original version, but the newer version, from what it seems, it looks not only more pretty, but it looks like they've actually streamlined a lot of the clarifying parts of
Yeah.
where you can build the buildings. Whereas, like, what's another game? Let's say Nations or Discoveries, the journals of Lewis and Clark. Well, does that board really need to be like this beautiful art board in the middle and it just has two little spots for things? No, it doesn't really help the function of it. Whereas like
Yeah.
Lewis and Clark, the board game, that function is really set. So
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
the graphic design on the river that you're trying to climb up, it could have been a score track. They chose not to. That's what we're talking about. So, with that being said, let's talk about our honorable mentions. Um,
I have three, just so you know.
I have two, um, but I can very quickly add on one more.
All
So,
right.
do you want me to
I
go
guess I'll
first?
go ahead and start while you're doing your thing.
Okay.
So my first one I'm going to talk about is the predecessor to one that's on our top 8 debate itself, and that is Rising Sun. It's the one I actually own of the big Come On board games. One we'll talk about later in the top 8 debate, and one that just went on Kickstarter this year around the same time as Frosthaven. And the one I'm talking about is Rising Sun. You've seen the game, you've seen the minis, how pretty they are. The board is nice, but I actually have the player mat, so there's that. Um, which gives it like more room. The player mat is important for this game, in my belief, just because it gives you, with all the minis, if you're playing a full contingent of 6 players, the play mat just makes it so much more open for you to move your minis around. But the minis are nice. The gameplay is really good. It's like diplomacy meets risk, I guess you could say, because you're trying to control the most area. It's an area control game that has some stuff that you want to target for, as well as diplomacy, because you're trying to work with other players, but you're trying to make the right decision when to betray other players or not to betray other players. Because as you're going through the seasons, there's choices you make. If you choose it, that your partner gets that same benefit, because when you choose something, everybody gets a benefit, whereas you get a bonus benefit depending on what you choose. And so your partner will also get it. So you want to try to talk with them and not be rude to them and stuff like that. And It's probably my favorite command game out of these big dudes on a map kind of games.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. Good choice. Yeah, I haven't played it, and that's why it's on your honorable mentions. I think it would have been on the list
It would have
had
been
I.
in the top 8, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My first honorable mention is the Tiny Epic series. Any of the games. They've all been kickstarted. I
Not
really
any of the games. Tiny Epic Western could just,
well, okay, so some were substantially better than others. Um, like my favorite is Defenders. I know I'm in the minority with that, but second is Galaxies for me. But I know a lot of people say kind of the way around. They just did a
I like
Kickstarter.
Quest. Tiny
Quest
Epic
is good.
Quest. The only one I actually own. I do want to get Tiny Epic Galaxies. I really do enjoy
Yeah,
that one as well.
Mechs was actually really good.
Yeah,
I
it's okay.
I I enjoyed Mechs a lot. I was surprised, but because that's not my style of game, but it worked out really well.
And speaking of which, they have one on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, Tiny
Pirates.
Epic Pirates. So as soon I haven't even gotten dinosaurs yet, and now this is like number 12 or 13. Who knows at this point? But yeah, so any of the Tiny Epic games, I've always really enjoyed it, and they've kind of set a good template and a good standard for Kickstarter games.
Okay. So my next one is one that they're gonna be having a Kickstarter next month for more into this world, as well as I should be getting the expansion today. It should be arriving today. If you hear the doorbell ring, that's what I'm getting. So, and that is Role Player.
Okay.
I didn't actually get into the Role Player at Kickstarter. I got it for a birthday gift a while ago, and I really wanted to get it. It's the most generic of fantasy. You're basically, the whole point of this game is a dice drafting game based on creating a character for a Dungeons and Dragons style RPG. So that it's literally just the player creation part of it. And then it added monsters and minions in an expansion. It added Fiends and Familiar, which is coming in today, which is more stuff for the game. Some new dual color dices. So that's going to be kind of cool. And that's coming in. But to me, it's one of those brain burners that I truly, truly enjoy, because you have and what's cool about it, as I mentioned, the Kickstarter that's going to happen for them in June, I think it's June 23rd, is that the characters you create in Role Player, you can they actually have little sheets that you can transfer it in. They'll carry over to Role Player Adventure, which is going to be a campaign style game based off of this.
Yep.
And for people that don't know, I have the entire Role Player set now. I have Role Player. I got the new expansion coming in. I got the first expansion, as well as Cartographers in Lockup.
Yep. We can see most of them over your shoulder there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, yep. Lockup, Role Player, and Cartographers right there.
Awesome. Yeah. I need to try Cartographers. One of these days, show me.
I do enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
And Cartographers nominated for the Kinderspiel.
That's true. Yep. So therefore, I definitely need to try it. Well, Kinderspiel, well, we'll get into that later. My number two.
Reward?
My number two is also from a. So all three of my honorable mentions are from companies that I think exclusively or fairly exclusively go Kickstarter only.
My two of them, the two I just mentioned, are mainly Kickstarter.
Yeah. This one is one of the more grandiose games. It is, and also one of the most meta games. I just backed the Kickstarter for the expansion probably about six months ago. You want to take a guess at it?
Yes, it is Millennium Blades.
That's right. Yeah, Millennium Blades by Level 99. So viewers of our channel know Ithri. He's one of the main dudes over at Level 99. He's awesome. The owner of it, Brad, he's phenomenal, and he's the designer of Millennium Blades. Basically, the idea of Millennium Blades is that you are playing as a character who plays a collectible card game. And a fictional collectible card game. So basically what they did is they took the entire concept of metagaming of a collectible card game, buying booster packs, collecting sets of them, competing in tournaments, bartering and trading with stores and your friends, selling secondhand, all of these concepts he distilled it into just a couple hours, into a few rounds. It's really neat. I like it a lot. There's basically all you're trying to do is you're just trying to play cards in a certain way, and you get victory points in a number of different ways by completing sets and selling them, by competing in tournaments and getting ranked higher than other players. It's awesome. So Millennium Blades is my number 2.
So my last honorable mention, you probably know it. As I mentioned, the other ones were predominantly Kickstarters.
Hmm?
Here's my one hint. He no longer does Kickstarters.
Do you want me to guess the game? I know
Yeah.
the company for sure. It's Stonemeyer.
Yeah.
But and it's an honorable mention, huh? Is it Tapestry? No,
No.
it
It's
has
over
to
my
be one of
shoulder.
his older ones, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's sitting over my shoulder right now.
it's not Euphoria, because you don't have that. Because I only see Charterstone and Tapestry over your shoulder. The screen is
Above it.
covering. My screen is covering it, so well, that doesn't help any.
My favorite worker placement.
Oh, Viticulture.
Yep.
Duh.
My last one is Viticulture. Again, my favorite worker placement game. Really enjoy it. He basically made a template from what people were saying because of Viticulture. It's gotten better over time. I got into Viticulture after all the Kickstarter. In fact, I got really into board gaming after a lot of his Kickstarters went on. I think when I got into board gaming, his big board game you'll hear later on, that was on Kickstarter. It's in the top 8 debate here. But yeah, Viticulture, and a theme. And that's the thing about Stonemeyer. He makes themes that you just wouldn't expect would be popular. Winemaking. The viticulture is basically your own vineyard, making your own wine, trying to become the most successful vineyard out of all the other vineyards in the area.
Yeah.
So
Bird farming.
Yeah, bird farming.
Mechanized farming.
Yeah, pretty much. It's weird. It's good. I enjoy it. Really love the Tuscany expansion with it, and I just can't get enough of it.
Cool. All right, good choice. Let's go over the top 8 real quick before we do our quick break. And
you got one more real quick.
Oh, yeah. I do have one more honorable mention. Wow, apparently I like it. No, actually, I love this game. It's really fun. I can't wait to show you because it's kind of a heavier Euro game. But the theme of the game hit really hard for me because I used to be part of this hobby. I still am a little bit.
Oh, I know what it is.
Do you know what it is?
Tricarion.
Tricarion, yeah. It's a magic-themed board game. I love doing magic.
Not Magic the Gathering. Magic as in magicians.
Yeah, like prestidigitation. You're getting props. You're performing shows. You're trying to be the best. The graphic design on it is beautiful. It's immediately made it where I want to see every game that this company makes now, even though this is the only one that I have from them. It's like Mind Gap, I think, is the Mind Games, something like that. I forget the name of the company. But Tricarion, yeah, it's awesome. And it's a nice, meaty, heavy Euro. So, check it out, if that's your style of game.
Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and introduce you to the brackets for the top 8 debate before we get into a quick break, before I can go get my package from the door.
Okay. Alright, so we have our number 1 seed, Gloomhaven.
Versus the number 8 seed Star Realms.
Number 2 seed, Scythe.
Versus the 7 seed Raiders of the North Sea, sorry.
Our number 3 seed, Orleans.
Versus the 6 seed Architects of the West Kingdom.
And our number 4 seed, Blood Rage.
Versus the number 5 seed Nemesis.